Best known for his fusion of punk, streetwear, and high fashion, Jun Takahashi's brand Undercover has been seen breaking conventional fashion from its inception in 1994. But perhaps the most groundbreaking work from him yet is the Spring-Summer 2003 collection, Scab. What's up guys, this is Casino Riv back at it again, and today we're going to be going over one of Undercover's most critically acclaimed collections of all time, Scab. Let's get into it. In order to understand both Undercover and SS03 Scab, we first have to understand the designer behind the brand, Jun Takahashi. Jun Takahashi was born in 1969 in Kiryu-gunma, and as a child was very much fascinated with very small, intricate things such as toys or even clothing, women's clothing in particular, and to be even more specific, his mother's clothing. He also found himself immersed in the iconic punk band, the Sex Pistols. Whether he realized it or not, these influences would soon take form in his later work. In 1988, Jun attended the Bunka Fashion College, which gave rise to high notoriety designers such as Yohji Yamamoto and Juno Watanabe. Fascinated and inspired by the likes of both Comme des Garçons and Mason Margiela, Jun finally found a way to express himself and his world, and thus set course through Undercover. At a certain point in his career, Jun was eager to show his work beyond Japan, but was soon discouraged since the media did not show him as much support in Paris. Then, after seeing only one of Jun's fashion shows, Rei Kawakubo Comme des Garçons approached him and asked if he wanted to make a show in Paris. In addition, Rei Kawakubo also told the media in advance that the label Undercover would be premiering in Paris for the first time. Thus set the stage for the now iconic collection, Scab. October 2002. The culmination of media, buyers, supporters, and the like crowded the vicinity of the Union Centrale des Arts Décoratifs, eager to see what Rei Kawakubo sees in Jun Takahashi and his label Undercover. The attendees enter the museum, taking their seats in the hall that does not have an end. Dim lighting all around, whispers and utterances in the air. They wait. Seemingly out of nowhere, a frightening figure emerges from the opposite end of the spacious hall, body enwrapped in darkness. It's entirely covered in stitched-on patches with loose threads. The audience cannot comprehend what will become of them. And so, the show begins. When first exposed to the aesthetic, you feel somewhat shocked and disturbed. But after repeated exposure to the garments and overall aesthetic, they gradually become more aesthetically pleasing, even beautiful for their inherent flaws. The organic movement of the clothing juxtaposing their violent and rigid aesthetic. The seemingly antique ornaments dangling from the model's clothing, arms, and even from their faces. The audience continued to watch in silence. Before they realized, the lights dimmed down, indicating the end of the show. But to their surprise, the models walked down the catwalk, all the while covering themselves in colorful burqas, subjectively carrying the weight of the political climate of that time. The audience applauded with other enthusiasm and exited the museum, the show forever etched in the back of their minds. This Runway show alone brings along with it an iconic first impression of Undercover, forever solidifying it as a need-to-know brand. But only after unveiling the different references, inspirations, and themes behind the collection can we truly understand the cultural significance of Scab. Of the various symbols and cues taken from both the Runway collection and from the ready-to-wear collection, can we see that the Crust punk culture and Sedition's Earthbeat LP are by far the main influences. So let's start off by asking ourselves, what exactly is Crust punk? In simple terms, Crust punk is a subgenre of punk rock, taking influences from bands such as Ambibex, Anti-Sex, Discharge, and Crust. But perhaps more important than the music itself is the culture that lies behind it. The lifestyle of crust punks, also known as gutter punks, revolves around the philosophy of freedom from capitalism, financial freedom, anti-authority. Vaguely speaking, the crust punk lifestyle revolves around temporary to permanent homelessness, moving from place to place, and living with the bare minimum. Now that we more or less established what crust punk is, now we can move on to what I would say is the main influence behind Scab, Sedition's Earthbeat LP. Originally released in 1993, the Earthbeat LP puts heavy emphasis on indigenous cultures. as well as the significance behind the spiritual teachings and the actions that have been used to slowly diminish their significance in the world today. The songs in this loaded LP are filled with passion and fury, ranging from topics such as the abuse of Mother Nature for profit's sake, the state altering our consciousness in order to become more stagnant, and unintentionally conforming to the status quo, thus aligning ourselves with the state's agenda for power. After coming to the realization that both the crust punk culture and the Earthbeat LP are key factors behind the Scab collection, their influence becomes ever more apparent through the collection's clothing and use of symbolism. From the distressed details to the seemingly limitless patches used to keep the clothing intact. Other influences from the crust punk culture include righteous symbols such as equality, anarchy, and peace signs. On the other side are cues taken from the Earthbeat LP, such as the logos from both the A and B side of the LP used for the outerwear, bottoms, tees, bags, etc. Less obvious cues from the Earthbeat LP can be seen by the use of the tribal aesthetic. From the vibrant tribal patterns to the jangling ornaments and the tribal boots. This overall aesthetic adds to the collection and changes the perception of the clothing from rebel to rebel with a cause. SS03 marked Undercover's first venture outside of Japan, and with the use of making such elaborate clothing, as well as conveying the cultures that rarely see the day of light, brought Undercover to the forefront of fashion. Although this may be based on my opinion, I believe that the primary reason as to why the Scab collection is so iconic is the ending of the show, the use of the burqas. Before the Scab collection debuted, the 9/11 attacks filled the air with mourning, violence, fear, hatred. Practically taboo at the time, fashion designers strayed away from the concept of conveying their own political opinions through clothing, focusing merely on the clothing and not the power that they can hold. As said by the US editor Sarah Moorer, after 9/11, it seemed like politics and subversion and irony in fashion had been completely snuffed out. Anything with any political subtext has suddenly been banned as a matter of self-censorship. However, Jun's response, whether intentional or not, brought about a sense of hope, of diversity, together with the rebels walking against the catwalk with the I don't give a fuck attitude. It was as though Jun himself was saying, through his clothing and through his collection, despite the ongoing catastrophes of the world, we are who we are. We will not be constrained by the stereotypes forced onto us, and we will walk forward with our heads held high. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. I really appreciate it. It took a lot of effort on my part in order to construct this, and it means a lot. So what do you guys think about Scab? Do you think it's overrated, underrated? Do you think it deserves high appraisal? Do you think not too many people are talking about it because it just sucks? Oh my god, why or why not? Please let me know in the comments below. That would mean a lot. I really want to know your opinions. I think it's sick, personally. But you know, obviously to each his own. Feel free to let me know if there's any collection that you guys want me to make a video on in the future. For example, I'll probably make a video on Raf Simons, Number 9, Comme des Garçons, or the likes. Yeah, let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do in making it happen. This is Casino Riv, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.